Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Hollywood After Dark for the 5th of November 2019. That's right. Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I don't remember the rest of the saying, so I did forgot. However, this is surprisingly, interestingly enough, our 13th, November 5th, after the release of V for Vendetta in April 2006. And that's always been one that I find curious, I find peculiar, mostly because, it came out in April and it was all about the 5th of November. So that's one of those things where you just have to kind of laugh. You just have to kind of laugh at all that, don't you? You have to sit there and go like, well, I don't think Warner Brothers or whoever the director was, I forget the guy's name, James something or another. I don't think they knew what they were up to. I don't know. I don't know what's going to be happening with. I don't think they knew at the time what was going to be happening with the movie. I think at the time they thought to themselves, this is just going to be a before summer film that will have zero impact on society at all. And we'll be able to throw up the Wachowskis produced it, and we'll be able to make it a deal, but we'll make some money, and that will be that. And of course, a lot of money. A lot of people love V for Vendetta. I still, to this day, 13 years later, love this movie. So there's that. There's all that. So I think before we jump into the new stuff here, got some questions coming in. Garrick here asks, "What's your take on people saying Terminator Dark Fate failed because it's woke?" My take on that is that people, I don't want to say are dumb, but they're misguided. And I think that's a fair assessment. I think that's a fair assessment to say. Because when you watch the movie, there's nothing that's woke in the movie. There's nothing that's woke at all. And I've asked a lot of people, how is it woke? Where is it woke? What's going on? And they'll say things like, it's anti-feminine. Really, the entire Terminator franchise that James Cameron has been involved with has been super feminine or aimed around strong women. Sarah Connor is a strong female icon. That's been around for 28 years now. That hasn't changed. So you have to kind of laugh at that, don't you? Like they sit there and they say it's anti-motherhood. Nothing about it was anti-motherhood. I don't know where that came from. That was someone's hot take to me in a comment section. Of course, when I press them to tell me more, they say, well, I don't want it to be a diatribe. I don't want it to be a diatribe here. I just going to tell you, this is my thought. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any damn sense. So the other part of that people like to bring up, there's a line in the movie where, and there's kind of some spoiler territory here, where Sarah Connor talks to Danny and they're kind of trying to figure out, Danny's trying to figure out why she's been targeted. And Sarah believes, and because Sarah is kind of, I believe, her experience then gets transferred onto us or imprinted onto us. She believes that it's because she's going to give birth to the leader of the resistance. That this, of course, is just another ploy by not Skynet now, but Legion to just repeat history. They were successful in completing their previous mission, but now they're focusing on the next person, the next leader. Except that isn't exactly what happens, but Sarah does say they only want you for your womb. They only want you for your womb. That's what she says. And people are trying to argue that that is a woke statement. That's so woke. Sarah Connor went woke. At no point is it woke. Because it's, in her opinion, from her experience, from her perspective, for over 30 years, that's what she's believed. That her only value was that she produced the leader of the resistance. And she's been trying to make sure that didn't happen. And then at the end of the movie, her purpose is then made clear. So it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Garrick here follows up by saying, is this another Fury Road situation where people tried to drag it down for having an SJW agenda? Yeah, but on the exact opposite side of the spectrum. So for those of you who don't know, Mad Max Fury Road, I have to go back on this one because this is actually a really kind of fascinating story, and this is 100% true. is Mad Max Fury Road was bogged down in identity politics in around April of 2015. A few weeks before the movie came out, there was this massive how to do online. A lot of online bloggers, a lot of movie bloggers, a lot of the progressive feminist types were coming out and saying, like, men's rights activists want this movie boycotted because women. And that was a narrative they ran with 4.5 years ago. They ran with this narrative, and they ran with it hard. And that had all to do, really, with one guy, one dude, who is not a men's rights activist. He is actually an alt-writer named Matt Forney, who runs a blog, I think it's a podcast called This Alt-Right Life. And he was writing for a website called returnofkings.com, led by a guy named Roosh V. And if you know anything about Roosh V, he's basically a pickup artist. He's Elliot Rodgers if Elliot Rodgers got laid. That is who Roosh V is, the type of person that he is. So, as a result of that, they ran all these articles, they ran all these things, and they tried making it, they tried attacking it for being the thing. So then, of course, other people are trying to say that Mad Max Fury Road has an SJW agenda because they had the audacity to consult with the woman who wrote the vagina monologues. And she consulted with the women in the movie, the brides, the mothers, and gave them insight into the mindset of women who have been held in captivity and simply used as breeding machines, because that's something she did in Africa. That's all it was. Yes, the woman is a feminist, but she's done things that were relevant to this movie that could be used to help make a better experience. That's all it was. That's literally all it was that. People making this massive mountain out of a nothing molehill. If you go to returnofkings.com, I don't know if it's still there, but 4.5 years ago it was. And they say in their about page that they are not men's rights activists. Not at all. They hate men's rights activists. They don't want to deal with men's rights activists. But it all got put on MRA's feet, even though MRA's had literally nothing to do with anything involving this whole situation. And that's this, so when you look at Terminator failing because it's woke, it makes no sense when you start breaking down the story beat by beat by beat. But people out there really want to believe that this movie is some kind of social justice warrior propaganda film that is coming out to crap on the legacy of Terminator. Never mind that the story was conceived of by James Cameron, who produced the movie and then basically oversaw the final cut of the film. So if James Cameron, who created the Terminator franchise, was heavily involved, which he was heavily involved, we know this information. Is James Cameron woke for continuing his story with the character he created? No, of course not. People just want to get mad at Tim Miller because Tim Miller had said that this movie, like Sarah Connor, is just going to like scare the hell out of misogynists or something. Whoop-de-doo. Who cares? Who cares? Everyone like just blows this out of proportion. I was watching people today, Republicans and Democrats, who were on the Terminator Dark Fate hashtag on Twitter, saying that they saw the movie and that they liked it. Like avowed Los Angeles-based progressive male feminist Democrat was like, I really enjoyed Dark Fate. Hardcore Brooklyn born and raised conservative who is MAGA 2020 on Twitter going like, man, I really like Terminator Dark Fate. So I have to ask the question, did we see the same movie here? Or are people just really trying to make a mountain out of a molehill because, well, clicks and views and clicks and views and clicks and views? Think about that. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Is Fantastic Four really that bad? Yes, it is. 2015 is really that bad. I actually enjoyed the 05 and 07 movies but god damn, 2015 was terrible. And it is, and I wanted to like it, by the way. I went into it wanting to like it. I skipped it in theaters because it got bad reviews and I just didn't feel like going to the theater. I watched it at home finally. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm fine. I think I'm okay. So there's that. Anyway, thoughts on the Fast franchise bringing Brian back? And then it will be Dom asking for help, or you think it will be Dom asking for help, but Brian saying, I'm retired. But they could bring his brother back. They don't need Brian, man. I know they want to bring in, I know it's, it's all about family. Like, I get that. I get that that's what it is. But they don't need to bring it back. They don't need to bring back that at all. They really don't. It's just, it's very pointless to do. And they've already addressed it. It had a perfect ending in Fast 7, right? It's been 4 years since we ended Brian's run. They've got 2 more movies left to go, one coming out next year and the year after that for the 20th anniversary of the Fast franchise. Leave it be. Leave it be. Let it be. I know they're bringing back Mia. Jordana Brewster's coming back, which is fine. But Brian, either they kill him off, which I don't think they're going to do, or they go from there. But I think we're fine. So there's all that. Anyway. Okay, let me find what I need to find here, because I kind of meant to click a button that I didn't click, unfortunately. All right. Anyway, I think, I'm looking forward to the Fast and Furious. I'm really looking forward to Fast and Furious 8 or 9 and 10. I really liked 8. Really, really liked 7. And I was really bummed when Paul Walker died. I mean, we're coming up. I think it just hit 6 years or something like that, which is just terrible. It's like you look at it and you're like, oh man, that's like really sad that it just hit 6 years. Time flies, especially when people die. you don't really think about it as much, but it's something to consider. So let me bring that up there. Okay. And okay. I'm just trying to get my intel correct. I had some let's see. Do you guys hear about Keanu Reeves is dating apparently an age appropriate woman? And people are like, oh my God, he's dating an age appropriate woman. He held her hand. Usually Keanu hover hands. He's like really good at hover handing. And I think that's great. Like, I think it's funny because the dude's like, I don't want nothing. I got nothing to do. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm fine. I am okay. I am all right. And you kind of got to think about that these days, right? You kind of got to think about that where you end up, really got to be, if you were a celebrity, you got to be very aware of what's around you, right? You got to be very aware of what's around you. And unfortunately, not everybody is aware of what's around them. And that ends up being a problem for them. Because if they do anything stupid, they're stupid if they do something stupid. But some people, I mean, like the Aziz Ansari thing, right? Where it was a bad date and it almost destroyed his entire career. So there is, there's all that kind of stuff. All right. Okay. This is a good story here. We'll cover this one. Okay. Cool beans. So let me just bring that up. I got a couple things we can cover. And of course, then we're going to get to the Ryan Johnson news because that is pretty fascinating, to be honest with you. The Ryan Johnson situation is something that a lot of people, I think, are going to be talking about tomorrow. Okay. There we go. All right. So I'm taking a look here. Let's see. Have I seen Battlefield Earth? I did. Yeah, I saw Battlefield Earth at the drive-in back in the summer of 2000, and it was one of the only movies that I left early of that year. Because you have to understand, I had just moved to San Diego. The drive-in was like 2 miles from my house. I was there like every weekend and then ended up getting a job there the next year and stayed there until 2010. and then went back in 2013 and left again in 2015. So yeah, I've been at that theater about 10 years of my life. And I thought we're a little over 10 years, I think. But I love that place. But yeah, I saw it there. And then I left early because it was like really terrible. And then the next year it was on HBO. And I ended up watching it on HBO one night. And it wasn't like it was so stupid. It was kind of semi-enjoyable, you know? Wait, Matthew McConaughey's in Two-Face, Talks to Me Two-Face. Do you have a link for that one? Let me take a look real quick on that one here. Matthew McConaughey, Two-Face. I mean, I guess it's one of those things. Oh, it's fucking, oh God. I see it's Cosmic Book News. Where'd they pull this from? I swear to, if they say we got this covered. Okay. It doesn't say. Okay. According to rumors being spread around the web. All right. Well, you know what? We'll talk about it because it's Batman casting. Why not? We'll bring it up. We'll be fair on that front. Okay. Cool. This might be random, but do I like Veggie Tales? Not necessarily. Just not necessarily for me. I guess they don't. Yeah, it's true. It's very true. They don't have this covered. Okay, so let me bring this up here, and we're going to add screen. Okay, so one of the interesting things that comes from the new direction the DC universe is going. I don't even know if we can call it the DCEU anymore. I honestly don't think that we can call it the DCEU. I know there's the timeline of like Aquaman 2, Shazam 2, potentially Black Adam, the Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey movie, and then I believe the follow-up Gotham City Sirens, and then there's also the rumored follow-up of Gotham City Sirens versus Birds of Prey, or flip that. But at this point, with the success of Joker, nearing $1 billion, like it's going to cross $1 billion, I don't think we're in a world right now where people are going to be able to like, or the company is going to see it financially viable to keep a lot of these movies going. And so it kind of feels like, as far as the DC universe is concerned, it's regressing backwards. It's going back to singular standalone universes, which is the dumbest thing they could do. But $1 billion on a $65 million budget, right? Like at the end of the day, Warner's is going to take home more money with Joker than Disney's going to take home with Endgame. Theatrically speaking, home video sales are going to be an entirely different situation, as well as merchandise and streaming, but it's still. So, according to The Wrap, Andy Serkis is in talks to play Alfred Pennyworth in The Batman. Both the longtime butler to the Wayne family and a trusted confidant of Bruce Wayne's, Alfred is an essential character in the canon. Agreed. Jeremy Irons did a really good job, but too bad we didn't get to see more of him. Serkis has never had a problem serving as a standout supporting actor, so there should be no worry when it comes to wondering if he'll be able to tackle the role, which of course was last played by Jeremy Irons, and before that, previously Michael Caine. But of course, for me, it's always Michael Gough, who played Alfred in Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. So right now, this is just simply a rumor that he's in talks, but everyone's reporting it that it's so. They're going to start shooting this movie in January, from what I'm hearing, or even before the end of the year. He's currently directing. What is it? Venom 2. They're shooting Venom 2 right now. So, I mean, is he going to be doing it? Probably not. But that's not the only bit of casting news we found out today. According to Collider again, they have here, this popped up right afterward. Colin Farrell is in talks to play the Penguin. Now, I'm not going to lie when I say this. I do feel that ultimately that's a better choice than, let's say, Josh Gad, who I know he wanted to play it. He was campaigning for it. But like, if you're not going to give me Philip Seymour Hoffman, and I know he's been dead for a couple of years, then I don't know. I need someone menacing. But I don't know if Colin Farrell can play the Penguin. When I think of him in a villain role, I think of, like, in comic books at least, I think of Bullseye. And it's not, I'm just saying, It's the Daredevil. He played Bullseye. So Colin Farrell is currently in negotiations with Warner's to play Penguin in Matt Reeves' upcoming The Batman. If the deal goes through, Farrell will round out the cast of villains alongside Paul Dano as the Riddler and Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Farrell is no stranger to comic book villains, having played Daredevil's arch nemesis Bullseye in 2003's Daredevil. He also played a variety of intense roles, including a broken officer in season 2 of True Detective, and of course a cagey hitman in Bruges, or in Bruges. I think I'm saying that correctly. But the guy can act. I have no doubt in my mind that Colin Farrell can't act. He can definitely act. But could he play the Penguin? Because the Penguin is going to have a very specific look and a very specific feel. And I know that there was a guy who played him on Gotham who did a pretty good job. But at the same time, still a little bit concerned. But in further potential casting news, and this one is coming out of left field, according to Cosmic Book News here, the Batman Matthew McConaughey rumored as Two-Face. And of course, look, we don't know where this came from. We don't know if this is true. We don't know if this is false, but this is the rumor. And on top of all the other casting, this is something fascinating. So according to rumors being spread around the web about the Batman, director Matt Reeves may be casting an Oscar-winning actor for the role of Harvey Dent with Matthew McConaughey. Two-Face has been long rumored to be one of the multiple villains for the Batman, which is said to be in part adapting the DC Comics Long Night storyline. It's claimed that Matthew McConaughey will first appear as Harvey Dent in the Batman and then Two-Face in subsequent sequels, which I completely agree with. And I agree with that because as much as I loved Aaron Eckhart in The Dark Knight and him becoming Two-Face, I felt like the lack of including him in The Dark Knight Rises based upon all that buildup was just kind of lame. Like, I understand that they wanted the Joker in The Dark Knight Rises to be the one that was like doing the judge. Instead, they got Scarecrow. Like, I get that. But I think having Two-Face be back and as a judge who flips the coin for live or die would have been a far greater scene. And then it would have been a callback to that. And I think that would have been probably more impactful. But then again, out of that franchise, The Dark Knight Rises is like the worst movie. It's not. It didn't hold up over the years as well as other ones did. It's been 8 years or 7 years, but it could have been better. It could have been a lot better. Now, when you look at what Matt Reeves is apparently building for this particular movie, you can see that the DC world is really starting to kind of change shape, right? So, this is taking place apparently in the 90s. And I do think that it will ultimately tie into Justice League and Batfleck and whatever. But we're clearly going to be building out from here. And if they're smart and they like money, they'll find a way to tie Joker in as well. Some people aren't going to be okay with that. Some people would rather that not be a reality, but I'm actually one of the people that think that bringing Joker into Batman, maybe not like, it would be maybe like 20 years later, right? 25 years later, he's going to be an old ass man, but he could be one of those Jokers that's like, menacing in the beginning, but then he has an apprentice or something, and they could find a way to make it work. But if you have $1 billion movie, you want to tie it into a $1 billion, you want to segue it into potentially another $1 billion franchise, which the Batman movies have absolutely proven to be those kind of hits. With, I believe, The Dark Knight Rises and also The Dark Knight crossing the $1 billion club. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But obviously Warner's is really reshaping all this and bringing in this kind of talent into the Dark Knight or into the Batman, especially having a solid rogues gallery is going to be really big, really, really, really big for fans. All right. Need something to drink here. Yeah, Luna, Joker is already on track to hit $1 billion. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I understand that the Joker is not. So for those listening on the audio podcast, Jesus here says that Joker is not the DC Universe Joker. Arthur visioned himself as a Joker. True, but we're talking about movies. We're talking about movie studios. We're talking about all of these things. So yeah, I really do think that a lot of people are gonna kind of just be, like if they came out and said we're putting this Joker in the Batman, no one is gonna sit there and go, that's a horrible idea. They're gonna be like, about damn time. At least that's how I see it. That's how I see it. Shidoko says here, I'd like to see Robin in the Batman, but like a teenage Robin, like Tom Holland's Spider-Man type. You might be one of the only ones to say that, but was it the interestingly enough, the Nightwing, the Nightwing Twitter account that's been dormant for a long, long, long time, tweeted out the other day, ... That was it. Just ... And people are really speculating as to whether or not we're going to be getting one of those kind of, or a Nightwing movie, because there was rumors of that for a while, because 2019, I think, is like the 80th anniversary of Batman. And there were talks about like there being like the year of the bat with the DCEU. So like Ben Affleck's Batman movie was supposed to come out. That didn't happen. And then it was like Harley Quinn movie was going to, like the Gotham City Sirens, Nightwing was going to come out. And then there was going to be another, and then maybe like a Joker standalone or something was going to be like the year of the bat. And that's clearly like, that didn't happen. But it could have happened. It could have been a very interesting year for DC to dominate the box office with Batman-themed content. But then again, going up against Endgame, they weren't going to do it. They were not going to do it. So DC is finally trying to differentiate itself from the MCU. Yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much. Is the Ezra Miller Flash movie still happening? I don't think so. Ezra Miller still says it's happening. In his mind, I think he thinks it's going to be happening, but I don't think it's going to be happening. It doesn't make a lot of sense for it to be happening, to be honest with you. It just really doesn't. So with any luck, we'll find out more. But again, with the Joker hitting $1 billion, because Warner's gave him the $65 million thinking it was a low enough budget to where like he wouldn't want to do it. Like Warner's has admitted that they like didn't want to make this movie. And now like they're sitting on this movie that could win Best Picture, or at least Best Director or Best Actor. It's grossed $1 billion on such a small shoestring budget. It's breaking records. It's like having people having conversations about it. Like there's a lot going on with that movie. Now they're in the position to where this is what Hollywood does. They always capitalize on this stuff, right? They always do it. You thought that Warner Brothers was going to do a Red Hood film. I don't know, man. You might have read that on We Got This Covered. You got to take it out with a grain of salt. The Cyborg movie isn't happening. Yeah. But the release of Snyder Cut might actually happen. There's people, Momoa is still talking about it. A lot of people are still talking about it. Zack Snyder is still teasing people with concept art from it. And the new person in charge might be sitting there going like, well, we want to get some of these fans back. Why don't we put the Snyder Cut on like HBO Max or something? Let's see, make more low budget character study movies. I agree. And if they wanted to do a whole series of villain based films that were all character studies, I think that would be fine. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Okay. Let's talk about The Witcher. This is a show that I think is going to be the new, I think this is Netflix's Game of Thrones, if I'm being fair. This is a show that, if done right, and I don't know if it is, because like the trailer, there's some elements of it that are still kind of iffy, but trailers are never a full representation of what we're going to see, as evidenced by like The Last Jedi. But we don't know how good it's going to be. The trailer looks dope. And a lot of people are excited because the game that came out about 4.5 years ago now, Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt, was, super popular. I think it sold 20 million copies. People have also played the Witcher video game, Witcher 2: Assassin of Kings. And The Witcher itself has found worldwide fame as a video game series. Now, the books themselves are great from what I hear. I haven't read them. It's on my list of things to read. especially before the season comes out, because this first season is based upon like the first two books, which are mostly just short stories. So I want to like dive into that so I have a better fundamental understanding of the world. And also, of course, to get more Geralt of Rivia. But for past the show, like what are they going to do with it? And according to the showrunner here, they have plans for more than 1 or 2 seasons of the show, which is insane because, you know, you don't know how long something like this is going to last for, right? Like Henry Cavill effectively like ditched his entire Superman career, which is probably already dead, but he ditched Superman. He ditched Hollywood, really, to go and make this series. So, I mean, like he's all in. And if it ends up being a big hit for Netflix, we will get everything. So the Witcher showrunner, Lauren Hissrich, is looking ahead, 7 seasons ahead to be exact. She revealed that she has enough story to fill 7 seasons of the show should Netflix renew it after its debut series premiere this December, saying, I've mapped out stories for 7 seasons. Right now, it's just about how do you set up stories that really capture the audiences for years at a time. She says the worst thing we could do is put all of our energies into just one season and not be thinking about where these characters can grow to. And that is true. That is true. I mean, if you know anything about the stories, there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of, Geralt and Yennefer, and then there's Geralt, Yennefer, and Ciri, and then there's Daffodil, and there's a lot of characters. So, and there's a lot of story and a lot they can really pull from. What they need to do, though, is really plan out a long arc that ends ultimately in the Wild Hunt, and I'll tell you guys why. So it says the upcoming dark fantasy series is based on the novel series of the same name by Polish author Andrzej Sapkowski. The tale follows the Witcher known as Geralt of Rivia, a member of mutated, mystically trained order of professional monster hunters, as he travels the continent and finds himself caught in conflicts that could reshape the world around him. And of course, it stars Henry Cavill, and it comes out December 20th. Now, I have said before, there we go. There we go. I have said before that it coming out on the 20th of December is a massive FU, a massive middle finger to Lucasfilm, Disney, and Star Wars. Because there's no other reason why you would drop 8 episodes of a very anticipated medieval fantasy show based on a very popular video game. Well, very popular novel series that then was also adapted into a very popular video game series. On the same day as the end of the Skywalker saga, unless you were looking to hurt the bottom line of Star Wars. Now, people out there would sit there and go, I don't believe that's real. But no. Like, if you think about it, think about how much time in a weekend you spend watching stuff. If this show is as good as they think it is by releasing it on that date, people are going to binge the hell out of it. It's only 8 episodes, 8 hours long. You could go through that in a weekend and still probably find time to go see Star Wars. But again, we can kind of see what they're doing here. If this series does what they want it to do, like I said, it could become the Game of Thrones of Netflix. And right now, they need it because they've got Stranger Things, which is a great series. But we're hearing that Stranger Things season 2 may not even come out in the summer of 2020, may come out later than that. And we just had season 3 a few months ago, leaving it on a big ass cliffhanger. And 65 million households watched that show. According to Netflix, they said 65 million households worldwide watched Stranger Things. That show is a juggernaut. I mean, when you look at the numbers of Game of Thrones, 19.5 million people watched the series finale. Another 19.5 million people pirated the series finale. So a lot of people, watched it, but more people watched Stranger Things season 3 in the first couple days. So what I'm trying to get through here is they need more things like that. Netflix really does. When we talk about Netflix, oftentimes we talk about the concept of quality over quantity, and Netflix pumps out so much quantity that it's starting to feel like a lot of it is not necessarily matching the quality. Now, there's a lot of it that does, like let's say The Dark Crystal. But that came and went. That came out at the end of August, right before Labor Day weekend. It came and it went. No one's talking about it anymore. And after the first week, no one really talked about it. After the first week of Stranger Things, when those people barreled through it, they didn't really talk about it much. But The Witcher has the opportunity to keep people talking because of the books and because of what could be coming down the pipeline. And if they're smart, if they are smart, what they'll do is they will go to CD Projekt Red and they will sit there and say, listen, we have the show. The show is popular. Henry Cavill has played through The Wild Hunt 3 times now. Let us get the rights to adapt the games. And I think that's going to be what takes us into further seasons, if it gets it. Now, the other downside to that, and the reason why I say going to the games, it would be good. It's not that there's not enough content with the books to mine to tell these stories. There totally is. But since 20 million people have bought and played The Witcher 3 over 4 years, the story of The Wild Hunt is a very popular one. People really like it. And if you really want to appease the fans, if Netflix really wants to appease the fans, then that should be a priority. Because gamers are loyal. And if they can get a good adaptation of a game, I mean, like, when have we ever really had a good adaptation of a video game? We really haven't, right? So there's that. So there's something to consider there. And I think that Netflix has got to have more content that can really rival its own what's going to be coming down the pipeline now with Disney Plus, HBO Max, Peacock. So they need this to be big. And if they're smart, and they've proven to be so far, they'll play it. They'll play it really well, and they'll make a lot of money in the process. Let's see here. Goonies never say die. Damn straight. Lunith, why haven't you watched Stranger Things, man? You're missing out. That show's great. What, Razor's right about The Witcher? It's plagiarized? How is it? Like what, the game or the books? I don't know. Who is Razor Fist? He's a YouTuber, commentator. At this point, I kind of equate him as old man who yells at cloud. Okay, where are we at here? All right, let me bring up this next story here. And okay, make sure we've got that. So we're making good time. So here's what we know in regards to the streaming awards. They're coming. They're happening. They're already upon us. And one of the biggest things that's now going to be, I think, an issue is password sharing. For the longest time, Netflix has not cared about password sharing, right? You've never heard Netflix say anything about it because many people pay for like dual streams, right? Like I pay for their UHD. I think it's like $17 a month. I pay for my Netflix, but I can have it on 4 screens simultaneously. So like I have it, my girlfriend has it, my stepdad has it. And then I think like my mom has it or something. People can watch Netflix. I pay for the streams. We can have 4 simultaneous streams, and that's great. But it's turning into a bit of a problem because Netflix is losing a lot of money. And as we get to Disney Plus coming out, as we get to all that stuff, we are going to see that there will be a big crackdown on the password sharing. And the reason why is because of money. And it's also because of Disney. Because Disney Plus is not messing around when it comes to getting money. Because they need it to do really, really well. So after the HBO Max Media Blitz, a new industry group, one that counts Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon, HBO Max as members, quietly started a new working committee to crack down on password sharing and piracy. While the streaming wars rage, the big players in the industry are in a zero-sum competition for the market share. However, when it comes to piracy, the major streaming providers are putting up a united front. Here's the thing. Piracy is actually down as a result of Netflix. When you have content that's accessible the world over, at the same time, it tends to die down. But as more and more services pop up, and and you could even argue, as Netflix begins to crank out so much content that's not necessarily worth it, some people out there may feel the need to start kind of sailing the high seas of the internet. And that's kind of where we might find a big push on that one, especially as they're trying to break into other countries like India and eventually China. There's a lot of piracy there. So I understand that. Same with Disney Plus, same with Hulu, same with HBO Max, all that stuff. Now it says here, once upon a time, the file sharing platforms like Napster were the digital boogeyman of Hollywood. And while file sharing and pirated movies are still a major problem, streaming platforms face an even bigger threat to their bottom line, password sharing. In 2016, the U.S. Appeals Court ruled that password sharing may be a violation of the U.S. Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Even if password sharing is in a legal gray area, it certainly violates many streaming providers' terms of service. However, until recently, big players like Netflix largely looked the other way when users blatantly passed around passwords with friends, families, roommates, neighbors, distant relations, or anyone else that would ask nicely, which, to be fair, is actually pretty true. However, as new fronts open up in the streaming wars, that may be starting to change. Soon, the time of carefree password sharing may come to an end. Because think of it like this: you've got Netflix with its 65 million, 60 million, whatever accounts here in the United States, and they're paying, let's say, an average of like $13 a month, right? I mean, like that's billions of dollars a year. And now with Disney Plus coming on in and the potentiality of Netflix losing 15% of that North American user base because of Disney Plus being half price and Netflix showing no sign of lowering their prices in order to maintain customers, you can start seeing where things are going here. HBO Max is going to give you HBO, Cinemax, and like everything in between for $15 a month. That's a lot of content. And it's a lot of good content. And they're planning a lot of interesting shows, like a lot of interesting DC stuff. So can places like Netflix compete? Well, not if people are password sharing. And even now with Disney Plus on the horizon here in a couple days, I know people right now that are already planning to password share. Even at its low price, people just like having access and having it be convenient. Anyway, the Hollywood Reporter shared new details this week on the Alliance for Creativity and Entertainment, or ACE. Following the HBO Max unveiling, ACE quietly announced a new working group to address password sharing and other forms of piracy 2.0. Password sharing allows an unknown number of free riders to stream Netflix shows for free. With so many new streaming providers entering the marketplace, industry leaders know that most consumers can't afford to pay for Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, HBO Max, Apple TV, and other streaming services. As such, ACE is taking proactive steps to crack down on the newest form of piracy. Is it really considered piracy, though, to share someone's password? I think that is completely over the top. But they're going to be tackling password sharing in earnest. So it says here that ACE is an industry lobbying group in the vein of the MPAA. So, terrible. The entertainment industry is one of the largest industries in the United States, and entertainment represents one of the country's biggest exports. Unsurprisingly, the streaming industry is looking to protect its considerable assets. One Reuters poll found that 1 in 5 young adults borrow passwords from people who don't live with them. From the perspective of companies like Apple, Disney Plus, and Netflix, password sharing could easily be considered stealing. Plus, for every young person that admits to password sharing, there may be many more who keep that information to themselves. And then it finishes up here by saying, so what does that mean for consumers? Well, recently, several popular and illegal streaming websites were shut down, which is true. OpenLoad went down. Now, Netflix, Disney Plus, and HBO Max will be joining forces to crack down on rampant password sharing. HBO Max and Disney Plus may be preparing to compete with Netflix, but the companies are now quietly working together to find solutions to their common problem. For viewers accustomed to logging in with a friend or family member's password, the days of free streaming may be numbered. And you know what? Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, because I give out my password, but I pay for multiple streams. So it's like, that's what I pay for. I pay for it so like my mom can use it and my stepdad can use it. There's that. And really what it's going to boil down to here is like how many concurrent streams can you have? And can you ever truly crack down on password sharing? Because how do you prove, right? Like, how do you prove that you're not you? So like, let's say, like I'm outside of Seattle and like someone's down, and like someone logs in with my account down in like San Diego and they call me and they go like, yeah, people are logging in from 2 states. I'd be like, yeah, I'm out of town. I'm out of town for the foreseeable future because I have work. My family is using my password because that's what I pay for, and I'm using it down here. And that could be an outright lie. They have no way of knowing that. They have no way of confirming that you're telling them the truth. And then it's going to be looked at as an invasion of privacy, is to go, well, if I'm paying for the ability to access the program, to access the service for multiple entry points because I pay for multiple streams, then who the hell are you to tell me where and when I can or cannot stream, or when I can view it? So, I mean, again, this is one of those things that I think it's like good in theory. I don't want to say good, but I'm like, in theory, what they're trying to do may have some kind of positive outcome, according to them. In reality, you're not going to be able to stop it. You start cracking down on that stuff, people are going to end up going to piracy anyway. And if that's what you're trying to stop, all you're doing is just creating a vacuum where people will just go and download it without paying for it anyway. So instead of potentially hooking them as a new customer and getting them to pay, you're forcing them to go to a place where they get it for free. That's easier in the long run and in the short run than paying for it themselves. So it's kind of a very dumb idea, in my opinion. Yeah, you can get kicked. Yeah, apparently you can't get locked out of your account for some, for that shit. I'm just saying. Oh, it's all dumb. There we go. Oops. Okay. But yeah, that's the piracy 2.0, Luna Theory. Piracy 2.0. That's pretty accurate. That is pretty accurate. Okay. Let's get something to drink. It's warm. It's warm in my room. So I got one more thing to cover tonight. And this is a, let's see. Remember LimeWire? Bear Share Network. Remember all that? I remember one time on LimeWire, it was the only way I was able to find the second episode of the Clerks animated series that aired in June of 2000. I was on a flight to Oregon when it aired. I asked my mom to set the VCR and to record it for me, and she forgot. And this was before you could get this on DVD or VHS. So I ultimately, to watch it, I went looking in places where they would be mad at me if I did. But you know what? When the DVD came out, I bought it and I've watched the thing so many times. So many times I've done all that. So let me find my banners here. Okay. Now, before we begin on this one, I want to reiterate that this is a scoop that I heard from a third party. I have no way of verifying it, no way of validating it. But if it's true, it's relative big news. And that, of course, is Rian Johnson is out at Lucasfilm. Now, this news, I have a feeling, will be everywhere tomorrow. People will be talking about it. I heard of it from Lords of the Long Box, which is a smaller YouTube collective, a YouTube channel that deals in a lot of scoops, a lot of insider information. And they've got spies everywhere. And I think at this point, we could all kind of pretty much look at the idea of Rian Johnson in Star Wars and go, look, it's been 2 years since they announced his trilogy. He's been dancing around it a lot more lately. The firing of D.B. Weiss and David Benioff kind of put, I should say, cast some doubt on whether or not he was in or out, because it kind of felt like, he was the other person at that Star Wars summit, so he would have been there, and his trilogy would have been probably pitched. And I'm sure at this point it's probably written, because he went hard at work on that thing right after The Last Jedi came out. But we've heard nothing from it. Bob Iger has said nothing about it. Kathleen Kennedy has, I think, mentioned his name publicly 2 or 3 times in the subsequent 2 years following The Last Jedi, at least when we're in regards to like the future of the Star Wars franchise. So what they said in their report, and I'm paraphrasing it here, is that Johnson's out, but they haven't said anything about it. And there's reasons for that. And the reasons are, for one, they're doing a soft reboot, roughly, of Star Wars after the Skywalker saga ends with the Rise of Skywalker. They want to do a soft reboot, and that makes sense. And that might be one of the reasons why the rumor was for Dan and Dave that they were going to be working on the Old Republic, that they were going to be working on the origins of the Jedi, which is so far removed from the Skywalker saga. Like, you can't get any more far removed from the Skywalker saga than the origin of the Jedi. So that's an interesting concept. So that's one of the angles of it, right? That they're doing a soft reboot, and Rian Johnson's proposed trilogy takes place apparently immediately after the events of Episode 9. Now, that could have been one of the things we were hearing about for a while in regards to Daisy Ridley talking about the future of Rey. She says her contract is over with this movie, but then there was some like talk about Rey coming back in, right? About Rey coming in down the road. And if Johnson wanted to tell that story, that could have been where he was planning on taking things. So I don't know. I don't know necessarily if this is going to be the reality. But again, what they also went on to say was that they don't want, at this point, there to be, and by they, I mean like Bob Iger, Kathy Kennedy, J.J. Abrams, they don't want there to be any whiff of Rian Johnson in Star Wars for the next couple months, because they don't want to have that stank, that cloud, that dumpster fire hanging overhead of not only the Rise of Skywalker, but more importantly, and this is true, more importantly, The Mandalorian. Say what you will about the Rise of Skywalker, right? The movie is going to probably pull in $1.5 to $2 billion worldwide. It's going to be enough of a crowd pleaser to make that kind of cash. Do you really think they want The Last Jedi anywhere near that? Do you think they want people on the internet getting all like up in arms over The Last Jedi while leading into that? By going, oh, we're going to be doing the Rian Johnson trilogy? People online would lose their mind over it. They would lose their shit. They would just be so upset. They'd be like, oh, Disney Star Wars is dead. I mean, that already gets said most times anyway when people talk about Disney Star Wars on YouTube. But that's what I'm hearing, is they don't want it anywhere near it. And when you look at the Mandalorian, that to me makes the most amount of sense, because critics of The Last Jedi and fans of The Last Jedi can kind of agree on one thing. The Mandalorian looks badass and people are truly excited for it, like legitimately, really, honestly, like mega excited for it. So if they're able to keep Rian Johnson far and far and far away from that, like no mention of it, because keep in mind, he's doing a press tour for Knives Out. And so everyone's going to be asking him the Star Wars question, right? And he likes to troll, because like, we all know it gets him off. And he likes to troll a little bit, and he likes to be a little bit of a jerk about it. And that's going to keep the negativity of The Last Jedi permeating around the Rise of Skywalker. So it's possible that they're just going to tell him like, hey man, like STFU, or like just do it. Just be quiet. Don't say anything. And then after the release of the Rise of Skywalker, then they'll make the announcement potentially that he's, they're moving on. They're doing a soft reboot. They picked out who it's going to be, and it's not going to be Rian Johnson. That's what I'm hearing. And I added a little bit of my own speculation on that end, but basically it's just, they don't have any confidence in him. They don't want the stank of The Last Jedi anywhere near Mandalorian or Rise of Skywalker. And he's out. He's done. Finito. Hopefully this comes true. Hopefully the inside sources that Lords of the Long Box have at Lucas are true on this one. But if you think about it, Rian Johnson is absolutely, he is such a bad luck for Star Wars, right? I'm just going to bring this quote up here. Roman numeral says, he's a bad juju, which I absolutely positively agree with. He is a bad juju. Rian Johnson is not the person you want anywhere near Star Wars. And we know that. Bob Iger, we knows that, because Bob Iger has not mentioned him, has not said anything about it. And if the rumors are true, where he is now taking more of an oversight control of Lucasfilm, where he is now, Kathleen Kennedy has basically run everything by him. The inclusion of Kevin Feige in the mix only solidifies that rumor, because even though they say like, oh, Feige's still going to report to Alan Horn, he's not going to report to Kathleen Kennedy. He's going to go right to Bob Iger, Alan Horn, all those guys. No, he's not going to Alan Horn. He's going to go right to Bob Iger. I mean, that means it completely undercuts Kathleen Kennedy. And so, yeah, they signed her a year ago to 2021. Bob Iger's contract expires in 2021, and I have a feeling that Kathleen Kennedy is not going to renew hers either. Both her and Iger will step down. Some other people will take over. And then 2022, Star Wars gets rebooted theatrically. But in the meantime, apparently we're going to get a whole bunch of badass TV shows that are going to be nowhere near, with any luck, as divisive as The Last Jedi, which, is good. Because that movie was so bad. All right. And that is all the stories I got for today. So, oh man, yeah, good stuff. So I mean, what I'm gonna do, just so we know this, I'm gonna be cutting this up, and like the segments will be over on the main channel. So if you guys like this format's kind of similar to what we were doing before, but if you guys liked it, let me know. I still wanna figure out a way to bring in, what? Well, here's what I'll do. Here's what I'll do. This will probably get me in a fair amount of trouble, but I don't care. If anyone wants to come on in and chat, that's the link right there. It's not you get in, I can see you, but you don't necessarily get anything else. So there's that. But that is the link to get in. If anyone wants to come on in for a few, I'll be off maybe like another 20, 30 minutes. My voice is starting to kind of go. You can blame that on Nerd Report for shooting me a call right before I was up and everything else. Let's see here. I can't use your landline. Is Chuck Wendig a hack writer? I mean, like I haven't read Aftermath. I know there's a whole herky jerky nonsense in regards to like, all that, but like the TIE fighter went all herky jerky. But I think like, the people apparently like the story, even if he's shit. So, let's see. Do the iJedi story. I don't know the iJedi story. Let's take a look at the iJedi story. Okay, so the plot in iJedi is Koran Horn must develop his Jedi powers in order to save the life of his wife, Mirax Tarek. After returning home from a long campaign to find his wife kidnapped, he turns to Luke Skywalker, the only remaining Jedi Master at the time, for help. Oh, interesting. That's interesting. Let's see. And that's from Michael A. Stackpole. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of the EU put on Disney Plus. That's the thing. Let's see here. So, I Jedi is a Star Wars legend novel written by Michael A. Stackpole. It was first published on May 4th, 1998. The novel is set in 11 ABY. What does that mean? I don't know. And it follows Koran Horn in his quest to become a Jedi to save his wife. Okay. The novel's plot takes place around the same time as Kevin J. Anderson's Jedi Academy trilogy, and it revisits much of that story. iJedi also features several characters from Stackpole's X-Wing Rogue Squadron comic book series. I've never read the Legends books. Am I missing out on that? Like, because these sound kind of cool. I feel like I'm missing out. I do. So there's that. Let's see. You feel bad for Lawrence Kasdan. Yeah, I agree. I think Kasdan like gave it his all with Solo. I think he did that, and he just got kind of screwed in the end. So I think he's done, but I don't think he wanted to go out like this. Let's see. Samurais and cowboys, Jedis and Mandalorians, swords and pistols, lightsabers and blasters. Goddamn right. God damned right. Is green milk a thing in Galaxy's Edge? No, blue milk, and I think pink milk is. I think blue milk and pink milk is from my understanding of that. So, anyway, so yeah, the link to come on in is right there. You guys can come on in for a few. So if no one comes in, we'll just talk for a few minutes, and I'll probably just wrap this thing up. And again, yeah, what I plan on doing with this is clipping it out and then putting it up on the channel, and then probably ripping the audio and then working on trying to develop it into a podcast. Oh, who's hotter, Margot Robbie or Olivia Wilde? Margot Robbie, man. Don't get me wrong. Love me some Olivia Wilde, but Margot Robbie has got the accent. And you know what? This is too good. Hey, what's going on, Nerd Report? How you doing, man?
Yeah, you invited me.
Well, I did.
I have a new
I
mic. Sorry, dude. I don't know
oh
if
you
I
get
sound messed up or what.
no, you sound fine. You sound fine. You sound
Yeah,
fine.
it's a Yeti. But yeah,
Oh,
you dropped the link there. I heard you were talking smack about me, blaming me for stuff I didn't do, messing your voice up. I think it
you,
was messed up even before I met you. And just stop it, dude. Just you're so toxic.
oh, I'm always toxic. I'm always toxic. That's how it goes, I guess.
Yeah.
What's up in your world of anything good happening today in the movie stuff that I missed? Anything that I'm
Well, there's a story. I don't know if you talked about it earlier, but Penguin
I did
and
mention Penguin. Yeah, I mentioned Penguin in the casting. There's also the rumor that Matthew McConaughey is going to be.
yeah, I heard that one as well.
I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, but
Good actors though.
yeah, good actors. I think if Matthew Reeves brings in good actors, that's going to like really, up the game. They may not be trying to take on Marvel directly, but they may be trying to bring more talent than Marvel.
Well, I think they're gonna do well, man. They just got to do their own thing and stuff. I don't know how they're gonna deal with this Joker situation, making $1 billion and just turning their backs on it. That's gonna be kind of weird.
Yeah, that's why I don't think they're going to do it.
They're not
Like, I
gonna turn
mean,
their back on it, or
no, of course not. Why would they turn their back? Would you turn your back on a potentiality of another $1 billion for a lower investment?
well, they did it by throwing away the Nolan Batman movies.
But that wasn't a cheap investment.
True, but they already had the momentum going.
Well, I think well, according to the internet,
Yeah.
the budget for The Dark Knight Rises was $250 million, and it grossed over
Ugh.
$1 billion. So like it made money, but not as much as that. And I think like I mean then again Nolan went all out, right? Like Batman Returns had a budget of Batman Begins had a budget of 150 million. The Dark Knight had a budget of 180 million. They gave Nolan a lot of money.
Yeah, I heard Tenant costs a lot as well.
Yeah.
Uh, were you the one that told me that Tenant is a prequel or a sequel to Inception?
No, I think someone might have said that. I've heard that rumor before. It kind of feels like it's going to be some kind of sequel, prequel to Inception. I
Why do
mean,
you
I'm
say
not.
that? Because like the only footage I saw was kind of like it looked like nothing. Like I mean, it looked
Well, it's like
cool, but
it's kind of meant to be a take on Bond, right? Like
yeah,
that's what it is. It's they're looking for it to be a take on James Bond. Okay, cool, fine. But they're also, but then again, so was Inception was kind of a take on like, DiCaprio was kind of like a Bond type character.
yeah, it did remind me of James Bond, especially the ice
Yeah.
part. That was a
So
good movie, man. The way it looked, fuck.
yeah, I need to watch it again. It's been quite some time.
I think Nolan has a secret weapon, and his name is Hans Zimmer. He's so good. I think Hans
Yeah,
Zimmer's
no,
score.
Zimmer's up there. So I mean, it's like, I mean, John Williams is goat, and then I think it's probably Hans Zimmer, and then underneath that, I would say is probably like Michael Giacchino.
The lady that did Joker's is coming up big time.
Oh, that's good. I don't, but the
Yeah,
thing is, I don't remember the score in Joker.
I do. It
So
was it was great. It's the same as Chernobyl. The same lady.
no, I didn't see Chernobyl, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, she's the score of Joker was awesome. Yeah, but it's kind of a little reminded me a little bit of Hans Zimmer, and she's also German, like Hans Zimmer. So I don't know if it's like a German thing. You know what I mean?
Well, when they stopped building concentration camps, they really got to working on the bars. Ding,
Oh,
ding,
come on,
ding, dong.
Hans Zimmer. I love that guy, man.
No, no, he actually one of the better soundtracks he did was he did Metal Gear Solid 2 back on the PlayStation 2.
Huh.
And he did no was it or was it place yeah, that was PlayStation 2, I believe. Uh yes. Yes, it was PlayStation 2. Yeah, he did the soundtrack on that one. And that's a good soundtrack. So like yeah, no, the dude's been around for a long time. Like he's been
Well,
he's
he did
been
Lion King. That's nuts.
Oh yeah, he did he do both Lion Kings or just this
Yeah, both,
this
man. I met him at the second movie. You
Yeah.
know, that was an honor. I mean, to me, when I meet the music guys, that to me is like an honor. I never met John Williams. Hopefully, I will one day. But yeah, meeting him was special, man. I mean, Hans Zimmer to me, because I love music. So
Yeah. I mean, he's done like I'm looking. I mean, he's been active since 1982. He's literally been active since I was born.
he looks young too.
He's in his early 60s, so he's been active for quite some time. Let's see. He did Rain Man.
Mhm.
That was like he did Driving Miss Daisy, which he was nominated for a Grammy for that one. He did Bird on a Wire. Wow, that was a Kurt Russell Goldie Hawn movie from 1990. Oh, no, it was Mel Gibson Goldie Hawn. Which was meant to be like this big kind of coming together thing. So that was a weird movie. He did Days of Thunder. He did Backdraft. That was good. Thelma and Louise. Yeah, League of Their Own. Yeah, he's been active. Yeah, he's done a lot of
He's
shit.
evolved as well because his earlier work didn't sound like what we're getting now.
No. Now it sounds a lot crazier. Like he did True Romance. He did what was it? He did Cool Runnings. He did The Lion King and Crimson Tide. Wow, yeah, Muppet Treasure Island. Wow.
I love it. He did X-Men as well. And if he honestly, the thing I like, you could say whatever you want about X-Men, the last one, but you can't say the music sucked.
He
The
didn't
music,
do X-Men.
He did do the last X-Men.
Oh, what was Dark Phoenix?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Look it up just to make sure because if you question like so that's what I remember him, I remember him in the credits, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm looking. He did do Dark Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
because
did.
I noticed like the music was exceptional. So watching that film, I was like, wow, the music is really damn good here, man.
And the
And
themes were by John Ottman, which makes sense considering I think considering John Ottman was Bryan Singer's guy for like ever.
well, I don't know. I don't like to get into like I don't even know what happened with Bryan Singer, honestly, but the guy is a good director. He's had some awesome things in his career.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Curtis? How you doing, man?
Pretty good. How's it going?
Going all right.
Hey,
Uh,
Curtis, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. How's it going, Lewis?
Nice to see you active there.
Yeah, right. No, I had to string something up because this is the same office I work out of. So I've got a desk behind me full of electronic gear and a
Uh-huh.
desk full of sewing equipment. So,
Yeah, so you're a technical guy.
oh, very much so. Very much so.
Do you like video games?
Yeah, mostly.
I've been watching on YouTube a lot of people modifying their arcade cabinets, and I'm like, man, I'm really jealous of them, but I'm not talented. I'd screw up. Like they'll get an arcade one and modify it, make it like all badass, and I'm like, dude, if I get an arcade one and start drilling into it, I'll destroy it.
I will
You
tell
know.
you a little secret, Lewis.
Tell me.
At the age of 18, my first job as an adult was in a video arcade fixing arcade cabinets, including Mortal Kombat 2. I went into the service menu for Mortal Kombat 2 and found two little things in there that constantly had me searching that we later found out were complete and utter misdirects. There is an entry for reptile appearances, which does happen in Mortal Kombat 2, and there was an entry for Kano transformations, which turns out the entire time was nothing but a scam.
Interesting. There's something about those old school games that I love those games.
The old original 6-player X-Men.
Oh, so good.
Oh, that was a fun one. That was a fun one.
That was
You're
awesome.
talking about the one that looked like Jack Kirby art, right?
Yes. The one that was awesome, unless some poor kid had to play Dazzler and didn't understand how she worked. Like everybody tried to play Wolverine, Cyclops, and Colossus. And nobody wanted to play Dazzler. Nobody wanted to play any of the other two characters.
What about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I remember the first cabinet was good. The first version was good. After that, it got really, really kind of repetitive. There wasn't a whole lot there. You know, they didn't change the story up a whole lot. It was just pretty much a quarter destroyer. You know, the whole purpose there was to eat quarters.
The game that ate the most quarters was Dragon's Lair.
Dragon's Lair was the beginning of. You can blame Mega Man on Dragon's Lair. Okay?
Really?
Because they are both the exact same type of game, which is that you have to play them repeatedly to memorize the pattern. It's all about the pattern. If you think about it in Mega Man, how many times the original Mega Man, how many times did you die just to learn the pattern so that you could get through it eventually? I mean, that's how those games are designed. You know?
Yeah, but I think Dragon's Lair was the one that it was even 50 cents. Back in the day, everything was a quarter. That one was 50 cents.
Yep. And that's because, and that one came out even before I started working in arcades, but that particular machine was expensive. It ran on a Laserdisc system. And in the early 90s, Laserdisc was freaking insane as far as expensive was concerned. And then you had the fact that, like I said, you had maybe 3 lives, and they're just really, you had to memorize it ahead of time because almost nobody's reflexes were fast enough to play it through on that first shot.
Yeah, I can't even find an emulator for it or anything.
I think I've got it on MAME.
The other game I like is Tron.
Tron got me into a lot of trouble growing up.
Love that game.
I used to cross an interstate to get to a water park that had 3 arcade cabinets, and one of them was Tron.
Well, you know that the last time I played that, I don't know if you remember Tron Legacy. Did you guys like that movie?
Yeah, we'll say I like that movie.
I actually love that movie.
Yeah, it's a great film.
I mean, I think if Disney had the same marketing strategies they have now back then, I think that we would have been on a trilogy of those. But I think the marketing was off. But so California Adventure here in California, they had the Flynn Arcade, and they had the Tron arcade, you know, the cabinet there. It was awesome, and I still knew how to play, man. It was pretty crazy.
2 things. The first one is, you know that the Grid Spiders was supposed to be like a 15-minute segment in the original movie that they cut out? Yes, they cut it out because they actually couldn't do the graphics. For all that Tron was one of the first movies, I think the first movie to use CGI, they actually had to cut out the Grid Spiders.
Well, back then the CGI, you couldn't even look at it, right? It was all numerical.
Dude, it was horrible. The CGI. Have you
was
ever
that
seen
ILM? Was that ILM?
I'm not sure. Have you seen the original Tron?
Yeah, I kind of don't like it, to be honest. Like
you could tell that like the blocks were styrofoam that were then copied over with CGI. You know, it was.
Yeah, but the first Tron, it's a classic.
Dude, the first Tron is awesome. It's what I honestly blame the first Tron for getting me into computers to begin with.
But I don't think it was a financial success.
Well, it took them how many years to do a sequel?
There's a reason for that. There's actually a reason for that. The budget was $17 million and the box office was $50, according to Wikipedia.
That's a lot.
So here is the thing about Tron, because Tron suffered the same problem that John Carter suffered at Disney. Okay. Tron Legacy was up. John Carter of Mars was up. Now, I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but the John Carter series by Edgar Rice Burroughs is something like 10 books. Yeah. It is the basic foundation for all science fiction. Like, if there's a science fiction trope, it was in the Mars novels. Right at that same time, that was when Disney was in talks to get Marvel. They were in talks to get LucasArts. And so they tanked all of their own home-built series, like Tron and the thing they had with John Carter, just so that they could get LucasArts and Star Wars. For instance, the whole Tron was a very similar thing, although they did continue some of that in a web series. And then with John Carter, they changed the name at the last minute, because they screwed up and did not copy or did not get the they didn't get a copyright, I think, and they didn't get a web domain on it. And so the Abyss, or the Asylum rather, ended up doing Deja Thoris, a Princess of Mars, with a porn star. So,
Gotta love it.
You're talking about the new Tron though.
Yeah, the new Tron
Legacy.
Tron Legacy. I can never remember. Although the joke is when I was in office, you could tell if I was in office if my laptop was playing Tron Legacy or if it was paused. If it was playing, I had just gotten up from my desk to go do something. If it was paused, I was at lunch. So, but yeah, Tron Legacy. What happened was they released Tron Legacy, and then after that, there was a web series that was supposed to go over some of the stuff that would have actually gone over Kevin Flynn still being alive. When he reintegrated with Clue, it did not kill Kevin Flynn, and he was saved onto that disc that his son wears around his neck.
Oh, okay.
So the little, if you remember, there was a little disc that Garrett Hedlund's character took out. Sam took out of his phone, and then put it on a chain around his neck. And that, thanks Roman numerals, it was Tron Uprising was the web series. Was it
the web series or was it the animated show?
I thought it was a web series.
No, it's an animated show with Elijah Woods.
Yeah, because Tron Uprising got I think 19 episodes and then they canceled it, but apparently it's really good.
So, Tron Legacy, it's so underestimated in my opinion. It had the coolest scene, man. It had the reverse Empire Strikes Back, I'm your father. Remember when Sam goes, that's no way to talk to your son? And he goes, oh, Clue's that. I'm not your father, Sam.
Yeah.
That. It was dude, that's the reverse Vader, and I was like, holy shit, with the music kicked in.
Exactly.
Well,
it was
I'm
because
not your father. I was holy poop.
Exactly. It was because, Clue was literally a digital version of Flynn, of Kevin.
Yeah, but if you watch that scene, it's so evil, man. It's I don't know if they did it on purpose, but it's the reverse Empire Strikes Back Vader scene. And it's just wow,
As far as I'm concerned, it was Kevin Bridges. And so it was intentionally done that evil.
Yeah.
Because he can be the nicest guy in the world, or he cannot be. And, that's just what it was.
Apparently, there's a pretty decent cast that was in the Tron show.
Oh, yeah.
It was Elijah Wood, Mandy Moore was in it. Aaron Paul was in it. Paul Rubens, Lance Henriksen, Trisha Heff. Aaron Paul was in it. Yeah. Reginald Vell Johnson. Al from Family Matters was in it.
Yeah.
So there's some.
I'm trying to remember.
All in that.
Cyrus is what his name is. Cyrus,
look him
apparently. Up. I don't know. I just work here.
Oh, you're okay. You're talking about the animation because I was like, okay, yeah, no. Cyrus. Yeah, it's an animated.
No, Aaron Paul. Yeah, Aaron Paul wasn't in the. He wasn't movie. In the movie. Yeah, he should have been. I don't know. I mean, the movie was I remember I'm pretty sure I was at Comic-Con when they recorded the crowd, because when they did the game in Tron Legacy, the sound of the crowd cheering was recorded at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Dude, and then
I'm pretty sure I was there for that, but I've been gone 19 times, so I don't remember everything.
Yeah, dude, you at Comic-Con have this ongoing love affair. Well, you did. I don't know. Are you still going to be going anymore, or are you done?
Yeah, I'm not going to VidCon next year, but I'm going to Comic-Con.
Okay.
Because
you're done with VidCon?
I'm not. I'm not. Yeah, I think so.
I'm kind of done with E3, brother.
Well, I've been done with E3 since 2013. So yeah. Wow, they've already finished filming Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
Wow, Jesus, that just happened.
Yeah, same thing with the last one. They don't. Halloween.
No, they don't take long to make. David Gordon Green just gets in there and shoots it, and he's done.
Yeah, he just copies the previous films. There's no script either.
Well, there you go.
Because the people nowadays,
he learned from Rob Zombie.
No, dude, no one's as bad as Rob Zombie. Because the people nowadays, they don't remember the other movies, so he just like, okay. So apparently the storyline for Halloween Kills, there may be a militia of the old characters from part 1. That's what people are speculating, to go up against Michael Myers, which sounds great, but the problem is there was a militia after Michael Myers in Halloween 4. So I'm like, all right, here we go again. You know?
I don't think I ever saw Halloween 4.
It's pretty good, man. It had the little girl in there. Shoot.
Yeah, she was in
Daniel
Rob
Harris?
Zombie's. Yeah, she was in Rob Zombie's movie too.
She was a great actress. I mean, I think she was like 10, and like having Michael Myers being so threatening after a 10-year-old, it's like you had no choice but to root for her, you know? And she really did a good job. She really did a good job. As a matter of fact, some people think there's a rumor that there's a rivalry between Daniel Harris and Jamie Lee Curtis for the franchise, because like Jamie Lee Curtis is the face, but a lot of fans like Daniel Harris.
Yeah, I'm looking up right now. She's she's 42. Like, I haven't seen her in a long time. So
I saw her in October. Oh no. Last year I saw her. Last October she was pregnant.
oh, well, good for her.
Yeah, she looked great.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't know that it's her like right off the bat, you know. Like you just wouldn't know that it's her. Like unless you like got a real good look, and you're like, wait a minute, I remember that. Yeah, I mean, like I get. Did she still do a lot of the
She does scream queen stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense considering that they probably wanted to put her on there because it's pulling from all the nostalgia.
Well, the thing is, the new movie blows off everything after one. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that. I was kind of thinking I was kind of hoping that they would just if they're gonna move the franchise, just pick it up after number 2.
Yeah, because 2 is actually a good movie.
Yeah, 2's a lot of fun.
Really
You ever see Halloween 2, Curtis?
I think the only one I remember seeing for sure was Halloween 2.0 or H2O.
Oh wow, that's not the
Hey,
what's up?
What's up, Mike?
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Doing all right.
We were just talking about you.
Oh no,
Yeah, that's what we do. Nah, there's we're talking about like horror movies and Halloween, and Lewis hates the new stuff, and
No, I like the new stuff. I was, look, I'm a big Halloween fan. That's like my that's like my horror Star Wars.
That's like your jam.
Kinda. Yeah, it's my jam. And when they said, okay, we're gonna blow off everything except part 1, and then I was like, huh? But part 2 is really good, and I understand part 4 and 5 you have to get rid of maybe, but part 2, all right.
Well,
all
especially getting rid of number 6. We could get rid of number 6.
Yeah, we could get rid of that.
That would be fine. That would be
and then
okay.
and then they go, okay, John Carpenter's back, and then I go, okay, wait a minute, they must have something up their sleeve. So then I gave it a chance, and it turns out to be like, oh, we're getting rid of all the other films because they were kind of like meh, so we're gonna start over, have the same vibe as the first one. And it turns out like the 2018 version was like bits and pieces of the previous films, even Rob Zombie's. I'm like, what? So, and then you didn't see it, Matt, right?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
You saw it, Mike, right?
Yeah, I saw it. I was there in the theater with you. I was sitting right next to you.
Oh, yeah, you were. Do you guys mind spoilers?
I mean, I intend to watch it at some point. So
well, let's just say that
I guess
Michael Myers is not supposed to be, according to John Carpenter. He wants to make him human, not supernatural, because he got ridiculous after a while, right? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And in this movie, he's getting his ass kicked so many times, and he's in his 80s. I'm like, dude, he's still pretty much the Terminator. You know what I mean?
What are you talking
Well-
about? When he got hit by a car and then freaking stood up like if nothing happened?
You hit me with a bike, I'm knocked out, man.
I mean, that's kind of the problem with trying to like humanize these murderers. It'd be like trying to take Child's Play and, well, I mean, they did that. They removed the voodoo aspect and they brought in like AI,
Yeah.
and it apparently it worked from my understanding. I haven't seen
Yeah,
that
it
one
worked.
either.
Their goal was going straight to DVD. It worked.
Let me
Well,
just ask you this because I haven't seen the movie. How
Yeah.
big of a vehicle was Michael Myers hit by?
What was he? What big of a vehicle?
How big
what?
of a vehicle was he hit by, and how fast was it going?
Well, he was hit by a police car as he
Okay.
was just standing. And here's the deal, though. He got shot at the age of 21 6 times in 1978. So we're going by that, right? So
Okay.
how old is he? In his late 60s? Then
Well, he'd be in his early
comes out
60s.
of the mental. Okay, let's say he's 20. He got shot 6 times, right? Those injuries are still going to be in you, right? So now you're telling me you're not going to address that. Okay, cool. So he comes out, he gets on the arm, like at least on his shoulder. Then he gets hit by a car, like really freaking hard, that like it tosses him, and then he gets, you know what I mean? So like after it's like, dude, is this guy supernatural or?
The reason I ask is because
what are you talking about, John?
Well, the reason I ask is because
you got hit by a car.
Story. Yes, 3 years ago, 2016, I was hit by a van in a crosswalk and thrown 35 feet. I was joking with the paramedics when they showed up. The only reason I couldn't stand up was because I had a shattered knee where the bumper hit me. Seriously, it's like different people respond different ways to certain things. I mean, that's why it's like that kind of works for that particular type of character. The problem comes down to when you start effectively turning him into, like you said, a supernatural thing like a Revenant or something where he's just, it's if it's within the realm of human possibility, it works. As it starts moving outside that realm, you start looking at it like, yeah, no, that's no good.
Well, that was the biggest problem with them, was that they just, where do you take the character? I mean, it's a slasher movie, so you don't really need to think that far ahead.
Ran over.
You take him into space where he dunks some girl's head in liquid nitrogen.
Well, yeah, and then it says, "Hey guys, he just wanted his machete back."
Dude, that was still the best line of all time. And guys, he just wanted his machete back.
That was just like, you're just so dead. You are just.
That was my quote back on AOL Instant Messenger for like half the time.
People love that movie. People love that movie.
There's really terrible movies out there that people really like, and there's I mean, I think the problem with it is nowadays is like, a movie has to either be good or be bad, and like that's it.
There's no,
because the first one's a.
Go ahead, Luce. What was that? The first one was what?
Did we lose him?
The first one is a Twilight Zone episode, kind of. It's the first one it's a Twilight Zone episode. No.
What are you talking about?
We can hear you. We're trying to understand what you're saying. You're speaking English, but we can't understand you.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Lewis, you there, bud?
He just got a new microphone. Maybe that's the problem.
I was saying, well, I'm wondering if he fell out of sync because of or something.
Just kidding.
My headphones. I want to ask him, like, does he like smell burnt toast right now?
Have you released the magic blue smoke?
Okay. He's just anyway. So, Mike, what's new with you today, man? How's it going?
What's happened?
I was saying, like, what's up with you?
Oh,
not you, Lewis. You talked too much and then you went away.
Yeah, pretty good night. We were at the Midway premiere tonight.
Oh, did you get a chance to watch it?
No, unfortunately, they didn't allow us to go watch the film. I wish we did, but did talk to Aaron Eckhart about the film
Nice.
and about how, and a couple of the actors, and was it Roland Emmerich
Yeah.
talked to him as well. But we brought up the questions like, how hard is it to put together a film about a true life historical event that John Ford had some footage from it, but not the whole thing. It's hard to, and there isn't much around. And they're not alive. A lot of the people aren't alive anymore. So it was very interesting. Yeah, the interviews up on Muse TV right now. Yeah, it's been a good day, but a lot of work though. A lot of stuff. Supposed to go see Just Mercy on Thursday though.
Oh, that's the Michael B. Jordan one, right?
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan, Jamie Foxx. Looks interesting.
Isn't Brie Larson in that one?
I do not know.
That's the one where it's like he's the lawyer getting the guy off death row, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Brie Larson's in that one, but she's got brown hair, so you're like, I don't know who it is. I don't know who it could be. And Brie Larson's like, I have brown hair now, so Oscar, here I come. Because you know that's always how it is. Like you know that's how it goes.
Artificial intelligence. That's what that is.
I'm just saying, it's like when actresses change their hair, they're going for the fucking Oscar.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I really wonder if Marvel's going to push Captain Marvel at all to for any kind of awards. Can it win most boring blockbuster?
Yeah, nah. Everything's going to be Endgame. They're going to throw out Endgame for everything.
Well, they didn't even give push for Downey Jr.
No,
as best actor, which I thought was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mean, they were all happy for Black Panther, and I'm like, really? Like you know?
Dude,
I find it funny that there was early into the award season on the screenings, there was 2 screenings for Avengers Endgame, and there hasn't been another screening since.
Maybe because everyone owns it.
Yeah.
Maybe they expect everyone to have it.
It's kind of odd that happened. But we've been seeing a lot. Like we saw the report on Saturday with what's that guy's name? Kylo Ren.
Oh, Adam Driver.
Adam Driver. Yeah, that was really good. Really good movie.
He's a good actor. It's kind of weird watching him on Girls, like fake ejaculate on that woman's chest, and then go like, oh wow, that's gonna be the new Vader, right? Like it's just like I force come on, like it's just really a lot of that craziness that came out. It's just such a weird. But he's a good actor. Like he's got a I think it's a TEDx talk where or it might be a TED talk. It's a talk with Ted in the title. And he talks about like being a Marine and then getting into the USO stuff and then getting into acting. And it's actually a really solid talk. So the dude I think he's a good actor and I like to see him in more things.
And it's they had a Q&A after the screening and they were kind of bringing up Star Wars and he was kind of like pushing it away a little bit. Like he didn't answer anything about Star Wars. And I'm like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? when usually they're very like, hey, yeah, I'm in it, but I can't say anything. But
he's been in it now for 4 years.
Yeah.
And he's probably like just tired of it.
Exactly. He's probably ready out.
Yeah, he's just like, look, if I die in this movie, which I think I'm going to die in this movie, then I'm done. I collect my millions of dollars, I get my merchandise, and I get to go home. And like that's about it. But and that's the thing too with the actors like John Boyega and Daisy Ridley. Like, what are they going to do after Star Wars? Well, I mean, Boyega could do some stuff, but Daisy Ridley is kind of like,
like Boyega's going to be on the ride. I know that much.
On the which one?
Rise of the Resistance. He's in the ride.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Daisy Ridley is going to do the same thing Carrie Fisher did. Lots of drugs.
Well, I don't know about that. She'll probably just go back to doing like indie stuff and then have a higher profile to like kind of pick and choose which project she wants. I mean, the first movie, she'll probably have to be able to pick whatever she wants to do. The first movie, but she was in what was it? She hasn't been in much, but they've been keeping her working for 4 years. Yeah. So,
I mean, the sad part is that she's a good actress. It's just she just had a bad role. She had a role that was going to be decisive or divisive rather, simply because of the nature of what they did with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's if things come up the way everybody's thinking they will for The Rise of Skywalker, we're going to understand some of the plot holes that came about in The Force Awakens. That being said, it's going to be interesting to see how they take it. But at the same time, like I said, she's not a bad actor. It's just, it's she's not a bad actor. She's just gotten a bad role. It's like that one girl, Kelly Tran, was it? Was that her name?
Kelly Marie Tran.
Yeah. Now, John, I'm not saying she's going to be a drunk. I'm saying that unfortunately, the female leads in Star Wars have a tendency to not succeed as much as some of the other roles do. If you look historically at the Star Wars films, all 9 of them, the main female lead has traditionally not succeeded as much. I don't really think she's going to go as bad as Carrie Fisher did because it was the 70s and the 80s. And let's be honest.
Well, Fisher also had, but the difference between Ridley and Fisher is that Fisher had, look at her mom. I mean, that was a big part of it. It was like the Debbie Reynolds, like the upbringing of being in the spotlight, of being Debbie Reynolds' kid, and then being around that kind of stuff. I think if Daisy keeps it metered and she keeps working even on small. I mean, look at Robert Pattinson, right? Like he's now making his comeback, but he did the the roles in indie cinema. Even though apparently The King, he's got some weird ass accent. I don't know yet. Have you seen that one yet? Like the King?
No, I haven't seen that one, but I did see Lighthouse.
How is Lighthouse?
It's really good. Really good.
What the hell is it about? Is it just
it's like 2 guys who freaking get pretty much stuck on an island. It's all like an island, and they kind of go mad because they're just stuck there.
Oh,
and
wow.
They have great monologue. William Dafoe has a great monologue. It's just they play off of each other well, and that's when I was kind of like, okay, Robert Pattinson maybe isn't as bad of an actor as I thought he was, because I hated the vampire one that he was in. Was it that
we all did? The only
Twilight,
time a vampire
Twilight.
should sparkle is when you dump magnesium powder on them before you set them on fire.
I will say this though, you know how it is at Comic-Con, like no one ever boos, right? It's kind of like a don't ever do it. They did it at Comic-Con for the Twilight trailer in 2008. They did it, and I was like, wow, people really don't like this. And then the next year, because of how popular Twilight was, they had New Moon as the very first panel, I think on the Friday, and they had like all those people that were there just for that. I got into that panel, and my friends and I got drunk. And then, I was talking. I didn't care. And then I sobered up because they showed us Avatar like right afterward, like 22 minutes of Avatar in 3D in Hall H. And I'm all like, I got to see this fucking movie. There's a lot of good stuff out there. What happened to Lewis? He just stuffed his crap out.
I suspect it was his internet because he was having a hard time hearing us. And then he reconnected one, so I'm thinking his internet was having problems.
We've had some issues out here in California since the fires with internet streaming and internet signals going up and down.
I'm not going to comment on that. I work for an ISP, and so I get emails about the entire country, and so all of my emails about California just go to their own folder right now because it's like I don't have to deal with that part of the country, thank goodness. But
because there are some issues that we've been having ever since the fire started, we started having issues. I thought it was equated to that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's California has its own set of problems in addition to the standard technical issues. Yeah. But frankly, dealing with certain other parts of the country that have had even minor fires or minor floods, and they've been down for 3+ weeks. Just you can't source that much fiber. You can't source that much cable that quickly to replace it. Yeah. And once you're in an area that's had a fire, you can't just fix that cable. You have to replace all of it because otherwise it's just going to have a poor signal. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
And then of course you have the fact that it's California, which means you have environmental impact studies you have to do. Yeah. You know, and Matt knows I'm kind of I heckle the left coast a lot. So
hey man, West Coast, best coast, all I'm saying.
Don't
get me wrong, I love LA and I've grown up here, and when I I moved to New York for a work, and it gets too cold over there, and I loved it when I came back.
Oh yeah, man. Like when I moved out of, so I'm from Oregon originally,
Mhm.
and then I moved to Southern California, lived there for 15 years, and then went back to Portland. I would go back like to San Diego. I'd like look for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm like, anything going on? Anything happening? My friend's like, I'm turning 40 and we're having a baby shower. Like, I'm coming down. You know, like I fly down in February. It's nice and 70 degrees outside. You know, it's a little humid. I can take it. You know, I could walk around in shorts and flip flops at nighttime, which is fantastic. And then I, you know, can gorge myself on burritos until I pass out. And I'm just like, this is the life. This is why you want to live in America's greatest city.
Yeah, like I have an intern who's working at an NBC affiliate in Spokane, Washington.
Oh, fuck that.
And winter, she was just like, "Oh hell no!"
Yeah, no, I live west side of the state. Like, you know, like the worst we get is we get a lot of rain because it comes in from the coast.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the snow, was it the Snowmageddon last year that hit the west, that hit the Midwest? We got drenched with that right after the fact. And what happened with us was like, because we have all the warm air here, and then all that cold air was swirling around the Rockies, and it just pushed over and it just like overtook it, and it dumped like 4 feet on us in a couple days, which for this side, that's a lot for here.
Yeah.
It was bad because I live remote, and so like getting anywhere, I was just like, holy crap, I'm like really worried that you know, power went out. I have a newborn, or a young 1-year-old actually, and then now I have another newborn. But like, just yeah, crazy shit.
That's why you get a 4-wheel drive instead of, you know, the little economy cars.
Mhm.
You get something that's big enough that if you have to, you can power your way out.
Yeah. Oh, so Lewis says here that the power went out, so he's done for tonight.
Yeah.
Likely story. Actually, I have no idea how bad it is
I believe it.
Yeah, it's been fairly odd lately. I mean, to be expected.
Yeah. It's the thing that I feel bad about for you guys out there is that PG&E hasn't been able to keep the lines clear.
Yeah.
Because of state laws and interactions and stuff. And I'm originally from Florida. Okay. I'm originally from a state where at the beginning of hurricane season, our power company paid a contractor to drive down every single mile of power line and cut everything within 6 feet of that line. You would drive down the street and see giant holes cut around power lines, because when a hurricane comes along, it's going to blow the trees into them and it's going to cause problems.
Mm-hmm.
Now, dealing 30 years later, they've stopped trimming those power lines, and they've actually gotten to a point where now once the winds hit 65 miles an hour, they just shut your power off.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to risk the backlash, and the backlash is happening because they don't want to trim the lines anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm lucky that where I'm at, Southern California, Edison is our electric.
Oh yeah.
So it's a little bit. It's been okay electricity wise.
It's you still have to deal with the grid.
Yeah,
and that's really where
Mhm.
that's really where a lot of the problems come from, is the underlying infrastructure.
Mhm.
And if that can't be upgraded, if that's stagnant, then you're going to have issues, because people forget, you know, in the last 20 years, the population of the country has doubled, I think.
Mhm.
And with that comes drains on the various infrastructures that we use, power, internet, things like that. And so, you know, the more strain you put on it, the bigger of a risk it's going to have to fail.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's yeah, I just that's one of those things that I get paid to worry about. So I worry about it. You know, it's I kid you not, North Carolina had some incidents earlier in the year, and all I could think of is, does this mean we could finally upgrade our cable? We could finally get around the counties that are keeping us from upgrading our infrastructure? Because, you know, I've had this discussion with Matt in his Discord before, but when you look at internet speeds and stuff, there's a lot of things that most people are not made aware of,
Yeah.
simply because it's, well, companies like mine do what we can to keep it from hitting the customers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we just deal with it, and we deal with getting yelled at, so that we don't have to tell you that the reason we can't upgrade it is because your county commissioners have decided that they want to charge us $10,000 a pole for access.
So how was it with Austin's Google Fiber? Has anybody been in Austin to see what
No,
that's like?
I've never been.
Yeah.
I've never messed with fiber.
I live in a city that has 10 gigabit fiber to the home available. The best part is it's in the middle of Tennessee. So yeah, I just can't justify a $3,000 router, but
Yeah, exactly.
you know, it's basically, again, where I'm at, the city got so tired of waiting for the various providers to upgrade the service
Mhm.
that they just went and passed a law to let the local power company do it, because they just got tired of dealing with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's all craziness. But it's actually about 1 a.m. 12:47 here. I
Yeah.
gotta actually get to bed. I gotta
Yeah.
be up early
Me
because
too.
got the kids. But hey, I appreciate you coming by. I know wasn't here for long. We'll do this again more often.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, thank you.
And yeah, thank you. Have yourself a good night, man. And don't stay safe with the fires. I don't know how close they are to you, but
Well, they've died down for now. It's starting to cool. It's starting to get back to normal again. So
okay.
luckily we're okay. We're kind of far away from it, so it's cool.
That's good. Well, that's good. That's very good. Well, then definitely, don't breathe in that shit.
Oh, that's
No.
that. We have no choice.
yeah, you do. Go get a 1 micron filter mask
No,
from
yeah.
the paint store.
Yeah.
We did that in Florida when Floridians figured out how to burn mud.
Yeah,
The
my
late
allergies
night.
have been really bad lately, though. That's the
Yeah.
one. So I may have to go do that.
Or
Yeah,
just smoke.
What?
Filters.
Yeah, God, there you go.
That's how you do it. You go, it's cool. It's filtering it out. I'm fine.
Oh.
That's what I did in San Diego during the 03 fire. I walked around just going like, nah, I'm fine. I'm good. This is okay.
Not the first time I've heard that one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh no, I felt. Oh yeah, no. Like a week later, like when it rained for the first time post the fire, it just brought all that down, and like the rain just brought all the dust up, and I was like, holy crap, how am I not asthmatic after this?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm all like, it's bad. But yeah, so I'll be back on. I think probably tomorrow night. Probably about the same time, perhaps maybe a little earlier if I can get away with it. And thank everyone for watching. Thank everyone for tuning in all the way through. I mean, we'll see y'all later, and have yourself a great day. And peace out.
Peace out.
See ya.